About 2 to 3 weeks ago, I got access to this bot that has been providing some pretty wild signals from the Solana trenches. Now, if you know me, I don't really do too much with meme coins, primarily because I don't really understand them. And so this bot has actually been incredibly helpful in terms of figuring out like what coins are actually starting to catch attention, starting to get noticed, as well as kind of the state of the overall trenches in Solana as well. So I want to talk to you today about this bot called ATM.day. It is a bot that you can run primarily through Telegram, though they do have a web interface as well. I also did want to be very clear and let you know that they have sponsored this video. This is something that, like I said, they gave me, free access to it several weeks back. I've been kind of monitoring it, seeing, kind of the quality of the bot, the quality of the signals, things like that. I've been pretty impressed with it up until this point. And so, I figured, I might as well go ahead and create a video to talk explicitly about this bot, just because I do actually think it is pretty cool. So overall, we're going to go in and dive in on all of that. If you have any interest and want to get signed up, I do have the affiliate link as well in the description below. If you are interested, of course, no worries either way. This is just something that I have personally found pretty useful in terms of kind of gauging the health of the Solana trenches, as I mentioned. And so I figured I would share this with you guys today as well. So hopping right on in, I wanted to show you kind of what their terminal looks like. So you can see I've got my login going on here. This is actually linked through your Telegram account. So it's pretty simple. It's pretty overall easy to use. You can see here they've got their trending token, and then as well as they've got their kind of top trending token scan here. You have this kind of future pump expectation. So just based on kind of their algorithm and what we've seen in the past, I think that's how they kind of come up with this. You can also see the stats as well. And we'll go and look into this a little bit more in more detail over through some screenshots, just because I can show you exactly what it looks like in the app. You can see here, and this was, I guess, yesterday. Yeah, so yesterday they discovered 72 coins. 40 of them had an all-time high greater than 10% after they'd found it. And then the max ROI was 1.78K. Yeah, 1.78K percent. So that's about almost an 18x. So pretty interesting there. You can kind of see some of the top ones, and this is so far today. And then you can also go back and see some of the top ones from prior days as well. We'll also be looking at this through the screenshots, but you can see some various different all-time high prices hitting on the 3rd, and on the 2nd you can see some other ones coming in here. The biggest one is Don't Burn Capital, hitting an ROI of 46,000%. So that's almost a 50x. Pretty impressive there. I will show you. Actually, I think it might be. That might be like 500x almost, so 462x. Insane gains here. And these actually keep updating over time. So if you want to see kind of the better, kind of the more up-to-date stuff, the screenshots I'm going to be sending you are, of course, just kind of like the daily reports that they send out. And things, of course, do change over time. This Don't Burn Capital, of course, is apparently continue to go even further, because this is only about 5,000% when I checked, and you'll see that in the screenshots. So really interesting stuff. You can see they find some absolute bangers in here. That you can also see they've got their stats. This is the pro, like if you go to want to get signed up, all that type of stuff. They have the link here, so they kind of mix in. And all this stuff I think some of this stuff will be gated if you come in. You can obviously check this site out for free. It's ATM.day. Again, check my link in the description below and it'll take you right there. Some of this stuff will be gated. You probably won't see everything that I'm seeing right here unless you get a premium subscription. So, but overall, I think that this is a really cool website. It identifies, as we can see, some just absolute moonshots here and there. There's some others that they've called out in the past. I think AIXBT was one that they found, and it subsequently did like a 100x or something like that. So there's been a lot of really, really interesting things that they've figured out here, which is really cool. So one thing I want to show you is part of the reason that I've been starting to get a little bit more interested in the trenches and the state of Solana, things like that, is because, as you can see, the first spot Solana staking ETF is now live. So there is a way for institutional money to get into Solana at this point. Now, it's seen about 9 million in trading volume in the first 30 minutes. I think it did, I can't remember exactly how much it did the whole first day. It wasn't really super impressive, to be completely honest. But that is not really the point, in my opinion. The point is, when better conditions arrive and when people are back buying crypto, this is a perfect on-ramp for a lot of money to get into crypto very quickly. Now, of course, I think it's highly unlikely they're going to be buying pump fund tokens, but there is kind of that waterfall effect, right? I mean, Solana goes up and then Solana projects go up, and then money kind of continues to move down the risk curve, as is typical. And so the more money that comes in the top, the more money already at the top that can kind of flow down to the bottom. And so I think it's really important, at least in my mind, to kind of keep up to date on how things are looking within the Solana trenches, just because we do know, and as we just saw, there are some absolute moonshots that can come out of there just seemingly out of nowhere. Now, the other thing I wanted to show you as well is looking right here at this other Twitter post. You can see ATM.day actually did kind of an analysis or a breakdown of their back-tested trading strategy. So I'm not going to go through the whole thing just because it is pretty extensive, but it is something where I'll actually like and I will repost just so you can see it. Check out my Twitter in the description below if you are interested. But you can see here, they got no filters at all. This is kind of their 3 results, and then they compare them overall. So you can see if you did 100% take profit and a 20% stop loss, you would have made about 145 SOL, putting in, I believe this is 1 SOL into every single coin. So you would have made about a 7% return. Okay, but not great. But you can prove even if you just bought every single coin, you would in fact make money over time, at least up until this point so far. Now, strategy 2 is filtering for tokens with a market cap of less than 100,000 at discovery. You can see this already pushes us up to 19K just because some of the smaller ones, it's obviously much easier to do much bigger returns, and it's relatively less risk because it's kind of lower on the market cap curve. So you can see here, this actually takes the return from 7 to 19%, and this would be if you do the 200% take profit and 20% stop loss. Then if you see here, now only trading during 12 profitable hours, it goes to 43%, 153 SOL. Then you can see here, narrow it down even more. This is going to be top performing 8 hours. So now you're at 55% with 121 SOL. And then here you can see the laziest strategy of them all. You trade just the 3 highest performing hours of the day. That gets you, if you do the 240, you now get to making 50 SOL with an 80% relative P&L. So really, really impressive. You can also see, you could use dip by limit orders, add more take profit orders, if I can speak. So there's a lot of different ways where you can mess with this and see but overall, really, really interesting thing here. I've been talking with the team over the past couple weeks. They're actually really spending a lot of time trying to build their algorithm and improve on their algorithm. So far, obviously, it identifies quite a few. And so part of it is, unless you're, committed to buying every single one, you do take a little bit of that risk of missing out on potentially some of the highest ones. But also if you maybe have a little bit of an inclination of which type of coins might do well, or use it as a way to kind of start figuring out, oh, this one looks good, or oh, this one doesn't. You can use it as kind of like a filter in itself from there, and then you can kind of pick and choose the ones you like best off of that. So it's a really, really interesting product. So far, it's been really worked quite well. You can see here, as I was kind of mentioning, they'll send daily updates. These are just screenshots that I took from my phone. But you can see here that every 24 hours, they send kind of an update, as we saw on the website, and it kind of gives you the stats as of that time specifically. You can see the top gainer of, this was, I guess, yesterday, as of the time of this recording. You could see the top performer did about 1.75 thousand% gains, and the discovered market cap was 74K. So very, very, very low market cap here. You can also see this is the actual notification from almost the 24 hours previous, based on the timestamps of that actual coin. Here you can see all of the different type of stuff here. So it's pretty interesting. It's a pretty cool app. And then you can see here's that don't burn capital notification as of kind of that 24-hour review when they did it. Don't burn capital is only up about 5,000%. It's up about 46,000% or something at this point. So again, less than 100K, absolute banger on this one. And you can see, some of the top coins. This was a great day in the trenches. You could see the lowest performing of the top 10 was 500%. And if we go back to this one, the lowest performing of the top 10 was about 200. So, it does kind of depend day to day. Some days are absolutely fantastic, and some days, struggle a little bit, as is normal in crypto. But overall, I found this product really, really interesting and really cool to use, just to keep kind of a little bit of a finger on the pulse of, how are the Solana coins doing? Obviously, it's not a huge part of the market, but it is a great indicator of when things get pretty wild. And so this is something that I definitely plan on keeping a very close eye on. I find a bunch of value from it. So if you are interested, feel free, again, like I said, use the link in the description below. You can check it out. Obviously, you don't have to buy it if you don't find it useful or whatever, but I so far have found it really, really cool and super interesting. And I do think that there's probably a bunch of value, as we went over in that X post, of if you start to refine some of the parameters a little bit and you analyze some of the data a bit more closely, you might be able to find some really, really interesting and profitable trading strategies. So anyway, that's all I've got. Thank you so much to the ATM.day people for sponsoring this video. They have a great product kind of nonetheless, so I'm more than happy to do it. And I've really enjoyed kind of using the product so far. So if you found it interesting, of course, I'd love to know your guys' thoughts in the description or in the comments below. Comments, questions, all that type of good stuff. And if you found the information in this video useful, of course, a like and a subscribe does always help as well. So thank you guys so much for tuning in, and we'll see you in the next one.